Howdy ho, guys and gals. Welcome back to Den Tools. Today we're talking auto auctions, and we're answering the question of, are they still viable? Are they a thing that you should really be bothering yourself with? Is it worth the time and the money? If you did see my video, I think it was last week, a couple weeks ago, we went to an auction here in Vegas. Now, it was an online auction, but all the vehicles were located here in Vegas. So we actually went and checked them out, took a look at them all. Of course, the wife and the kids were super excited about this thing over here, the prison bus. Well, if you didn't hear about it, stay tuned. We'll talk about it here. But we got a lot of vehicles. We got some police vehicles. We got work vehicles. We got just some regular vehicles. So let's see if auctions, do they matter anymore? So let's jump into it. So first thing, we're going to start with some basic vehicles, some basic kind of cars that you might pick up for maybe a son or daughter going off to college, maybe a second car for the family, great starter car, stuff like that. What we have here is a 2007 Ford 500 SEL. This is the most boring of sedans that's out there. But you know what? They weren't terrible cars. They ran. They were very usable for the average family. Let's see what you got here. Now, this went up for sale. Now, this is after all the sales are closed. We have all the information on it. Now, remember also, 13% buyer's premium. That means whatever you pay, whatever you bid, if you won, you get to tack on 13% on top of that just for the ease of using the auction. I know, the auctions are like that. They take money from the seller, they take money from the buyer. That's how they make their living. Anyway, 2007 Ford 500 SEL. It sold for $3,900. Now, some relevant information about it. It had 103,000 miles on it. Nothing else about it. It was in decent shape. Nothing shocking about this. It is what it is. I mean, it was fairly clean. We looked at all of these when we went to the auction. They had two preview days. We went for one day. We spent probably 2 hours there taking a look at all the vehicles and stuff. As I said, it was clean-ish for an auction vehicle, something like this. And now, how much should it have? We went for just under $4,000. How much should it have gone for? Now, let's add the 13%. 10% would be $390. Let's call it $400 something. So you're looking at $4,300 there. The J.D. Powers. Now, we used J.D. Powers on some of the cars, and we had to use Kelley Blue Book on some of the trucks just because of the way their different systems work. But what we got here, 2007 Ford 500, and it should go for average price from a dealer, $3,663. Now, here's the difference here. There's buying from an auction, there's buying from a private party, and then there's buying from a dealer. Both the private party and the dealer are going to give you the ability to get in the vehicle and take it for a test drive and maybe even take it to your mechanic, have them take a look at it. At the auction, you can go, you can look in it, you can prod and open everything up, you can plug in your OBD2 reader, all that kind of stuff, which we did do. But you can start them up, and you can put them in gear to see if they engage in gear, but you cannot drive them. That's where they draw the line. You can start them up, you can put them in gear. Usually you can move them forward a foot, back a foot, that kind of thing, just to make sure that the gear works. But that's it. No taking it for a test drive. No taking it to your mechanic. You can bring your mechanic with you if you want. But that's and then of course all sales are final, as is, where is as is kind of thing. So $3,600. I think this one you got to call it a loss at $3,900. If I can buy it for less from a dealer, and dealers should cost more than buying it from a private party, because from a dealer, allegedly you're going to have some, even if they're saying it as is, the dealer they can't lie to you about it. And if they do, there's legal protection that you have depending on the state that you're in. So they're overpriced on this, even from a dealer. So that's a loss right there. So one for the lose. Next up, we got some police vehicles. All right. This is the 2016 Dodge Charger. I got to tell you, I think the Dodge Charger, great looking vehicle with the cop badging on and everything. Great looking thing. I can tell you though, a lot of police departments dropped. They liked the look. They liked the price. They dropped them after one or two, rotations of these, just because they just didn't hold up to the wear and tear like the old Crown Vics and stuff like that. They just don't. That said, we're looking at, it is a 2016 Dodge Charger. It has no console. So the center console has been ripped out because that's the police console. It's got all the little switches and fiddly bits and stuff like that. Of course, they've taken any lights, anything else on it. Any of the vehicles that would have searchlights on them, those have been removed usually. Now, I've bought used police vehicles before, and I've had good luck with them. But the thing to keep in mind with them, yeah, you're getting the, from the old Blues Brothers, you got a cop motor, cop suspension, yeah, that's great and all, and that's fantastic. The negative side point of these is quite often that they've idled for twice as many miles as they have, so to speak, because the police will sit there and they'll be watching something, doing something, working in their shop, as they call it these days, and they'll just leave the vehicle idling. And it's not as hard a miles. You can go back and forth, talk to mechanics. Whether you guys can argue it down below. Are idling hours harder on the vehicle than running hours? I don't know. Anyway, they sold this thing for $8,100. Now the interior of these were pretty decent. They weren't terrible. Let me see if I can give you some inside shots. I don't know if I looked at this one specifically. I do like the police wheels on it, the black with the chrome hub there with the center cap. There you can see the missing center console. And you're going to have to get a replacement from them. Maybe you can go to Pick and Pull and grab one, or grab one off of eBay or something like that. But the rest of it, I mean, this has got, look at this. If you saw this, if you know your Dodges, that's the road and track package. That's what they give you for the police version there. Back seat, doesn't look like it had a cage in or anything. Maybe this was a detective's vehicle or something. But, there is that missing center console, so that's some damage. 143,000 miles on it. Other than that, I mean, Ford Charger, sorry about that. I don't know, 8,000 for 2016, 8,000. What do we got? JD Power, aka in the NADA old Blue Book. Also, in case you didn't know, what I found often is dealers will buy using NADA prices and they like to sell using Kelley Blue Book, but these days, I don't know. It goes back and forth. 2016 Dodge Charger in the police package there. The value on this should be $10,000, $10,500. That's if you're buying from a dealer. Now, it's going to be less than that if you're buying it from a private party. Now, they paid $8,000 plus that seller premium. That's going to knock another about $1,000 on that. So you're going to be up to about $9,100. That's going to be really close. You're saving about $1,000 by buying it from the auction versus buying it from the dealer. You'd like to think the dealer would work. Anyway, of course, that's not list price. That's the average. They get these prices based on the average selling price of these vehicles at dealers. Saved a few bucks there, but again, you don't get a ticket for test drive, any of that other kind of stuff. Maybe. Now, here's an interesting one. Next police vehicle is the 2016 Ford Interceptor. Of course, this is the Ford Explorer that they've added now the Interceptor package. And instead of saying Explorer across the front of the hood, it actually says Interceptor, which is awesome when you pull it behind your buddies at a stoplight and they're sitting there sweating because they think there's, LEO behind them. Anyway, 2016 sold for $4,900. There's now the check-in CEL, that's check engine light, is on. There's no console. They look pretty good. And as far as I know, these are four-wheel drive, all of these vehicles. They don't mention it. Usually they do mention, well, I guess they are all-wheel drive. If we come in here and we look at 2016 Ford Explorer with the police package, the Interceptor package, with the 3.7 V6, 304 horsepower at 6,500 RPM. They're peppy little trucks, SUVs. 13,000 is what they're saying this should sell for. Now, this person, if that's accurate, wow, they walked away with a steal here. Now, with the check engine light, we don't know what codes were on and what was going on with the check engine light. That's where the real caveat there is. I didn't look closely at the Interceptors. It wasn't something we were interested in. I just kind of glanced at them. I looked inside, see the condition of them. Here, I'll give you the inside look on this one real quick so you can see what we're looking at. The clean looking, SUVs there. Keep wanting to call them trucks. They're not really trucks. They're just elevated cars at this point. I mean, I wouldn't mind having one as a daily driver around town kind of thing. Again, spooking the neighbors kind of stuff. Always good fun there. But yeah, look, center console's missing. You can get those replaced fairly easy. You get handy. You can make a wood one, cover it with some vinyl or some naga hide, maybe some leather if you're feeling, peppy there. But yeah, it's going to need a little bit of cleaning up. But again, as a daily driver for $4,000, if it runs and drives, depending on what that check engine light, I think that's a steal of a deal. So that's a win at the auction. We're going to call that one a win. Next up, we got the Chevy Tahoe 2013, went for $10,100. And now this, I'm not surprised about this. Down here in the Southwest, we get a lot of people. The Tahoe has become kind of, and the Suburban have become kind of de facto for a lot of the groups around here. People with larger families, stuff like that. It's just kind of the go-to. You see Tahoes and Suburbans everywhere. Now, this is a 2013. It's a 4x4, has body and interior damage and no console. The body damage, I think they're really... I kind of looked at this one. It's like they've removed the push bumper on it, the police bumper on it. Other than that, I didn't see a ton, maybe a few dings here and there. Let's go around it real quick and we'll take a look at it. Almost all these had virtually new tires on it. I was really surprised about that. Everything's really dusty, okay? That's kind of something that happens here in Vegas. We have we're in the desert. Dust blows everywhere. Unless you're constantly cleaning your vehicle, you're going to get dust and dirt in it. Same if you live on a dirt road. You know how that goes. Anyway, no center console. A lot cleaner looking. Doesn't have that impact because it doesn't roll into the front console there. So a lot easier to replace, easier to deal with. I mean, my wife looked at it. She's like, I don't even need a center console. I'll just put my bags and stuff there. 98,000. Now, this is a vehicle, when taken care of, can do 250,000 miles fairly easily. Now, that said, some of them do have some issues with the transmission. I know a lot of people who've had the Tahoes had transmission, rear diff kind of issues, all right, depending, especially if you're towing. I don't think they do really well towing. Now, that said, it's fairly clean. Look at that nice back there. Again, newish looking tires, nice leather seats. Or they may be cloth. Looks like leather. Anyway, either way, it's a good looking truck. There's some of your body damage there. You got a scratch there, and there's a little ding right there. Looks like a golf ball hit it or something like that up there. Look at that picture. Real photography there. Nice big, was it the Vortec engine there? These are solid engines. In fact, I wouldn't mind having one of these, but at 10,000, is 10,000 worth it? Well, let's take a look and see what the NADA on it is. We come down here at $10,765. So I'm going to say no. At that price, you're right in there with buying it from a dealer. This isn't a dealer. You can't go back to him and be like, hey, you said it was this and it wasn't that. I didn't get a ticket for an extensive test drive. I would have liked to see this at like $8,000. At $8,000, this would be a good deal, But I'm going to say that's a no for me. All right, they had several motorcycles, and I had several people reach out to me and be like, hey, keep an eye out there for these, and let me know if they go for a cheap price. And I tried to, but here's my thing. Apparently, I'm getting on in years, and I'm not a motorcycle guy, so for me, cheap on something like this is like $2,000. All right. Now I did have Mater. If you check out Mater's workshop there, he's got a great channel. He rides Harleys and stuff like that. And he said, well, here's the problem with buying the police Harleys, is that the engines are almost inevitably going to need a full rebuild. Which bike engine rebuild versus an SUV rebuild, not in the same league. But that said, that's still a lot of work, still money and time and whatnot. Now they went for between like $4,500 and $5,400, depending on the condition and stuff like that. That to me seemed pricey. Now they are 2018s; they're not that old. Now they do have what I would consider to be high mileage. This one's 67,000 miles, 67,500. I think the lowest I saw was like 42,000, but it was really rough. Anyway, you're looking at a police Harley here. Again, you get to scare the friends and family with it and the neighbors. Pulling up on this. Now, how much one of these would go for, I don't know, and I'm not exactly sure how good the NADA book on this is. NADA is saying it should go for, average retail is 12, low retail is 9. But I don't know, if you are a Harley guy and you've dealt with police bikes and stuff, listed down below. Let me know down below what you think. Do you think this at 50? Well, we're looking at 13%. That's going to tack on another $550 on that. So we're going to call it $6,000. $6,000. Would you buy this bike, police bike, 2018 for $6,000? I mean, they're fairly good looking. There's some scratches, dings, and stuff, but as you see, they're not bad, but again, I'm not a motorcycle guy, and I'm not the one to sit there and tell you. Like, a lot of them had the box back here, but some of the box was damaged. This one, clearly the box had been removed. Still has the side saddle boxes, though, so that's nice. It looks like they had a CB radio in here. That's been removed. Probably not a CB police band, whatever that is. There's your odometer on it. again, just glancing at it, I don't know a ton about the Harleys and stuff, so I look at them like, it's good looking. Looks like you got a tear there on the leather on the seat. Anyway, you let me know, because again, I'm not the expert when it comes to these. All right, let's move it on. I know you're waiting for the trucks, so we're going to start with light trucks, and then we're going to move our way up. I got to tell you, there's some real doozies in here that are just going to blow you away. All right, so first up, we got the classic Chevy S10. Now, when I was working in the trades, I mostly worked, almost entirely worked on rebuilding old houses. The team that I worked for, the owner would buy old houses, and then we'd go in and tear them down to the studs and rebuild them and stuff. The guys, though, that worked new construction, if you walk by any new construction, there was a fleet of S10s pulled up on. Everyone and their brother in new construction drove S10s. I don't know why, it was just the thing back then. Anyway, 99 S10 went for $3,800. It wasn't in terrible condition. Taxable body damage, okay. Has 75,000 miles. Not terrible. Let's take a look around it real quick. As far as the body damage, I think it was mostly in the bed, if I remember. Yeah, scrapes and scuffs and stuff in the bed. You get the wheel wells are banged in and stuff, because it's a work truck, right? So that's what you're going to expect. Anyway, there's a little ding back there. Excuse me. Anyway, there's your engine. There's the interior again. Dusty as all heck, and you're going to need to clean that sucker up. I think these are jump seats in the back. I don't remember the S10s. The back, I always saw them used as work trucks. Never really rode around in them. All right. So anyway, let's take a look there. $3,800, and Blue Book on this is saying it should be $3,290. Now that's in fair condition. I marked it fair condition due to the damage in the bed and stuff like that, and all the dirt and whatnot, and a lot of small scratches and everything. But anyway, $3,290. Now, if you wanted to try and say it was good condition, that's going to bump you up to $3,500. Either way, that's overpaying for that truck. Now, next one we got is the Dodge Dakota. Now, the old Dodge Dakotas, when they first came out, I really liked them. These later model year Dakotas, kind of iffy. I think the design on the hood got a little weird and kind of wonky. This one's got some damage on the hood. The chin bumper there is kind of coming off. It went for $4,900. Now it is a 4x4. All right. Now they're saying it's got some damage here. Let's go right. As I said, it's got the thing on the hood. The bed's not too bad. A few dings here and there, but it's look at the tread on that. That looks like it's brand new. Well, probably because the tires in the back. This one, not quite the newest thing, but look, it's got the suicide second door on it. I love that. Easy access. You got the jump seats in there. But there's the damage on the hood I was talking about. But other than that, I mean, it's a clean truck all in all. And how many miles? 151,000, though. Kind of high. For that engine, it's kind of high. And Blue Book on it is coming in at $4,800. $4,800 versus $40,000. And again, these things are going high. And I know they said the whole boom in used cars was over. I'm not sure they actually told people that, because the populace seems to think it's still going on. All right, let's look at the Ford Ranger. Now, there's a fanatical following, not as much as the Tacos, the Toyota Tacomas, but the 2008 Ford Rangers. These old Ford Rangers, people love these trucks, and you have the old guys who still have them from when they bought them new, and then you got the young guys trying to get in. They think they're getting into a smaller, cheaper truck. A lot of guys, especially down here in the Southwest, turn them into desert trucks and pre-runner builds, stuff like that. $5,500, and that's not, I don't think that's terrible, considering that it's 4x4, has this paint damage. It has 116,000 miles, but it does, as I said, it does have the 4x4 package. In fact, I think this is the Sport Off-Road package, believe it or not. I pulled the VIN on all of these to get a look at the specs, so I knew exactly what we're talking about when we went to look at buying them and stuff. I said newish looking tires there. You got some paint damage, and then it's got this the diamond plate kind of edging on it that I'm not a big fan of. Nice toolboxes. It's got the ladder rack up top. Again, the paint damage. It's got some damage, I think, with the latch there. But all in all, it's not. There you go. There's the latch. Has some issues. It looks it looks worse than it is, really. And that's one of the nice things is down here in Nevada is not really much rust. There may be scuffs, there may be dirt, but rust really isn't an issue. But with work trucks, they usually get thrashed pretty hard. This one wasn't that bad, honestly. Dirty, yes, you're going to have that down here. But you know what? You can go and get it detailed. Next thing you know, it feels like you're driving a new truck. That's the other thing with these work trucks. They're not going to get a lot of bonus stuff inside of them. But being in the Southwest, almost all of them are going to have air. Because sending out guys in Vegas in trucks that don't have air conditioning is like you're just asking for it to get sued. Because when it hits 120 here during the summer, not irregularly, and you can't send guys out in work trucks that don't have AC. It's just not something you can do, and it's not that much to pull that panel, put in a decent stereo these days. So anyway, let's look at 5,000. What does Blue Book say on this? Blue Book says 6,400. And I don't think they're far off on that. And that's at fair value. And I mean, honestly, the damage is paint. If you wanted to take off the ladder racks, yeah, you can sell the ladder racks, sell the toolboxes, use that money to, give it a decent, Mako style paint job, do it yourself. You can rhino line it if you want. This would be a decent pre-runner build at $5,500. You maybe get a couple $100 back from selling off that other stuff. That's a win. I'm going to call that one a win for that truck, because trying to find one with a good straight body like that, that's kind of hard to do. Now, here's something else to keep in mind and this kind of goes back and forth. Do you think that buying a truck from a municipality or a vehicle is going to be good or bad? There's always the take of, well, people driving it were like, it's not my vehicle, so I'm just going to treat it like crap. But the other half of it is, it should be getting scheduled maintenance. Because they have all these things they're set in, they're supposed to go in, they're supposed to get done, and if it's a good organization, they're doing all the scheduled maintenance. They're maybe even doing preventive maintenance and staying on top of that. So let me know what you think down below. If you've worked for any of the municipalities and or local governments and stuff, let me know. Were they on top of scheduled maintenance? So something to keep in mind. Let's keep going here. Next up, we're going full-size trucks. All right, we got 2012 GMC 1500. All right, this is a gasser. It's a 4x4. It's just basic 1500. This is your basic everyday driver truck. A little bit of 4x4 if you're going to be taking it back up north. I'm not a GMC's versus. I'm not a Chevy GM guy usually, but I don't hate on them. But anyway, $7,400 is what got paid on this. And how many miles did it have? 175. Kind of high if you ask me for a truck like this. Now again, those engines, they can do 200, 250 well maintained, but again, you're getting way into it there at 175,000 miles. $8,200 is the value on that in fair condition. That's not terrible, but it is, again, but if you add the tax on it, not the tax, but the premium, 13%, that's another $800. So now you're looking at $8,200 versus coming in at 82. So no on that one. All right, next up, we got a 2007 Chevy 2500 HD pickup, aka Cat Eye. And all the kids these days are just going crazy over the Cat Eye Chevys. Honestly, back in the day, I thought they looked a little special, if you will. But apparently that's the new thing. Got to get that Cat Eye Chevy. All right. Anyway, $9,900. I can tell you, every single vehicle in the auction that had the Cat Eye lights on them, they all went for ridiculous prices. Well, we'll see if it's ridiculous. All right, 2007. We're not talking half ton. We're talking 3/4 ton. So this is a solid truck here. And on top of that, it's a diesel with 122,000 miles. Now, I'm not up on my Chevy diesels the same way I know about the Ford and the Dodge, but the Chevy here, we're looking, I'm guessing it's a pretty good diesel. You tell me, is this a good engine on this one? So anyway, we're looking at $9,900 with 122,000 miles, which doesn't seem to be a lot of miles if you ask me. And we're looking at a price of $11,716 in fair value. That seems like a win, no matter how you slice it. You're looking at $10,000. Hold on, let me dial it back here. No, it looks like you're probably right at the same price because 10% on 10, 99 is 900, 1,015. So you're going to be right at the same price. So you're right at dealer pricing. My bad. I got to take that one back. But, with the way that people want these, I mean, this looks like a good to go truck. Maybe peel that sticker off the back. But you got your toolbox in there. You got a holder for a cooler. Got it like that. You pull this weather guard toolbox out of here. You can sell that, make some of your money back, or keep it and use it if that's your kind of thing. But you know what? If you've been looking for a good diesel, and my son's been crying for a diesel. He wants to upgrade the Jeep to a diesel. He loves driving my truck, and of course, when he has to go back to driving his truck, other than he likes driving my truck. He likes parking his. It's a little bit easier parking that Jeep. Anyway, we got some headliner issues. I hate headliners. I know they're not that hard to deal with. I hate dealing with headliners. But that said, this is a good solid. We're missing some molding there on the A-pillar. 2006 model year, kind of like, let's say 6.6. It's got a 6.6 liter in it. There we go. 6.6 turbo diesel. There it is, right there. And look at that on the hood. It clearly had light systems on there, and they put some caps on it. That's kind of bothersome. I worry about leaking and stuff like that, and it's just damage to the truck. But that said, if you're buying it as a work truck, anyway, I think it's. I'll take it back. I don't think it's a win at that price. Next up, 2003 Ford F-250. Now there was two of these trucks. There was a 2003 and I think the other one was a 2002. And they're sitting right next to each other, and they're right next to each other in the bid list as well. Now this 2003, this is a diesel again, but it's what they call the 6.0 or the 6.0. This engine got serious issues. Now some of them run forever and they do just fine, as long as they don't get they're not worked hard. They don't get high heat. They usually do okay. But if they do, they can have some catastrophic failures. Now, there's a company out there that will do something they call it bulletproofing the engine. It costs about $3,500. Now, if you bulletproof these engines, apparently they're fantastic. Once bulletproof, they are indeed bulletproof engines. But you're going to tack $3,500 onto the price of that. And this is coming in at 136,000 miles. It's got body and interior damage. I didn't think it was a ton. Let's take a look at it just to make sure here. It's got the utility bed on it with the rack. So now what I did find out is you can, as long as it's a 2,500 and it doesn't get up into the bigger trucks, you could just take that off and put a standard bed on it. And a lot of times you can find people who just want to swap. You can actually, if you take it off, sand it down, give it a good paint job, you can sell it for a pretty penny. You're going to need help getting it off, though. They're really heavy. And anyway, again, look at it, a lot of storage. My wife looked at that. She's like, ooh, catering. I'm like, okay. That's her happy place. And look at that. Oh, the tape. Look at that tape interior. That's custom, folks. Custom work right there. You don't see that everywhere else. So this is coming in at how much again? $6,100 for the 6.0. And this is where I kind of have to laugh, because if you look at the value on this, $8,000. So $6,000, tack on another $650 onto there. You're coming still in under $7,000. So the price looks like a huge win. Utility bed, something like you get that thing, maybe replace some of that weird tape with some actual fabric repair tape, clean it up, paint that utility box, and you got a good looking work truck. Probably resell it, make a nice dime on it. But that said, anybody who knows diesels is not going to buy that engine. They're gonna take one look at that and they're gonna walk away, which is why it went for $6,100. Because if you look here, we've got the 2002 that was sitting next to it that's got the 7.3 that is a rock solid engine. And it went, and I'm a Dodge guy saying that. The 7.3, I think it's a fine engine. And you're looking at $7,700 on this one. It's 2002, basically the same truck coming in. It's got 112,000 miles. Diesel and paint damage here. Let's take a look at the setup on it. We took a good look at this one. And it was, again, it has a nice utility bed on it, if that's your thing. It needs a paint job and whatnot, but lots of storage. And let's see the interior on it. Come on, let's get there. There's a nice interior straight bench. Little rip right there, not too bad. Mostly, mostly straight. Needs a good cleaning. Get in there with a pressure washer or whatnot, clean it out. Power stroke 7.3 on that. That is a solid engine. All right, and how much should that sell for? Well, Kelly Blue Book saying it should go for $9,752. Now look at that, $9,752 in fair. I think it's fair, versus this one selling at $8,000. Even Kelly Blue Book knows that the 7.3 is a better engine. I still wouldn't pay as much on the other one. Anyway, all right, enough about that. Now let's talk about this one. This is the one my son really wanted to get his paws on. This is the 2001 Ford F. Again, we're talking 3/4 ton. We're talking a diesel. Now, this has got 106,000 miles on it, so practically no miles. Again, it's got the 7.3. We started it, ran it, did everything to it, put the reader on it. This was a slam dunk right here. Diesel, and it had the lift gate on. Now, of course, he's like, I'm gonna take the lift gate off. He was calling his buddies, what can we do to get the lift gate off of it? And they're already making plans for it. And I'm telling him, let's hold off, because this thing's gonna go for a good bit. Now, a lot of people were turned off by the lift gate. People are looking for a civvy truck kind of stuff, but anybody looking for a work truck, man, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind having that lift gate on my truck, and I don't even, do this kind of work anymore, but I'm always moving stuff, I got pickup trucks, I'm always moving stuff for friends and family and whatnot. I would not mind having a lift gate. Anyway, look at that, nice toolbox on that. This is a good setup on here, and honestly, it's not that, they're heavy, but they're not that hard to take the lift gate off. A little bit of damage on the bed. Luckily down here, there's a place right down the street that sells brand new truck beds, so we could pop that thing off, put a new one on it. Got steps on it as well. Clean-ish interior, needs a new bezel on that, but other than that, we looked that up. You can buy that online for $15. This is a good buy, really. I mean, a little bit of tear in the seat, but I mean, for a good solid 7.3, it went for $9,200. Which, let's see, they say $9,500. That's a bit much. Now that I think what happened, this one actually stayed down there in price. Right to the end, it was staying a little bit below. It was, I think, within like 12 hours, it was still around $3,500, and in the last few hours in the morning, it just went through the ceiling. I think it's people actually looking for the lift gate on that. But either way, I think that's too much. But I don't know. What do you think? With the lift on it, with the gate lift, would you pay that much for it? All right, now we got to talk about the one that just blew my mind. I'm a Dodge guy, and I was looking at this truck going, I want this truck for myself. All right, and let me tell you why. 2006. So this is the, was it 5.7 inline six, turbo diesel. Get this. Stick shift. 4-door quad cab. Stick shift quad cab 4x4 with manual transmission. Now it says it's got no catalytic converter, and it's got body damage, and the check engine light is on. All right. I did not actually pull the codes on this to see what the check engine was, because once I took a look at it, this thing, the body damage, it's thrashed. It was, there wasn't a panel on this thing that doesn't have damage other than maybe the top of the truck. Let's take a look at it. I mean, the pictures make it look way better than it was. You got the chrome is crinkling on all the plastic. The headlights are completely fogged over. You're going to need, forget refinishing them. You're going to need to put in new headlights. The tires were okay-ish. It's got look at this, the custom color on the rear door, which honestly for me, I was thinking about getting this as a daily driver around town back in Montana. No catalytic converter doesn't bother us because we don't have smog testing, all right? So the crunch here near the gas cap, it's something you'd have to check out. You have to get underneath. I didn't bother to take a look and make sure that filler line, it hasn't been damaged. So that's the only concern there. But again, replacing it on bed on one of these, not terrible. And I could do body paint if I really got around to it. But look at the tailgate on this is complete. Just look at that. Even the rear bumper, something walloped the snot out of this thing. Underneath, clean, no rust. It's got wall-to-wall carpet. That is carpet in there. But you can see there with that pin, it's been used for pulling some sort of gooseneck. So it's worked hard its whole life, and it looks like it. Again, damage everywhere. Let's see if we can see the interior. Look at that. That's the front right damage on that thing. Yeah, that's pretty. Inside, there's not, look at sun faded. There's something spilled. I don't know if it's bodily fluids or what. There was something, look at that seat. Oh, and it smelled. It smelled bad. Everything in this thing was trash. They had seat covers. The seat covers were trash, covering seats that were trash. Look at the stains on this thing. I couldn't even think of, but look at that stick shift. Oh, come on. That is so tempting. And I was still thinking, even as bad as it was, maybe, with a stick shift, with the 5.7, that's pre-emission kind of stuff, no depth fluid to worry about. Maybe I get this thing, we put it on a flatbed and we take it back to Montana. Maybe I can do it. Like, maybe this will be a good bed for a rebuild or something. This is, because I'm sorely tempted because of the manual transmission. But the 388,000 miles, that's high-ish even for a Cummins. A good, well-maintained Cummins will do 500,000 miles. 388 is getting deep into those miles. If you're going to do a rebuild on it, are you going to bother doing a rebuild and do this whole custom truck around an engine and transmission that's got nearly 400,000 miles on it? I don't think you're going to put that kind of money into it. You can see fluids come out, gone everywhere on this thing. And anyway, I don't know. I wanted it badly. I couldn't pull the trigger, and at 6,000, they made the choice for me. I wasn't going to bother with it. Now, if you look at Kelley Blue Book on this, they're saying the value should be $8,955 at fair condition, but I don't think you can't really calculate. If you go to say no, that's not fair, that's actually poor condition, it's basically going to tell you that you got to figure out the price because we don't know what it is at that point. All right, now some more stuff. Look at this. We got a 2009 Chevy 2500 animal control unit. All right, so what this is, instead of like a utility bed on it, it's got like the dog kennel on the back, which is like, you can get yourself some hunting dogs, get some duck dogs out there, go out for the day, take them out in this truck, maybe have some fun with that. I could see that. But look at this build. You got the quad cab with a suicide door on the back. This one, I sat in this one, I pulled codes on it. I was pretty happy with it, honestly. We're looking at the Chevy with the diesel 4x4. Love the 4x4. Check engine light was on, but I can't remember. It was something minor, I think. It was like one of those things you could just basically ignore. It probably affects gas mileage by like 1 or 2 mph on it, or mpgs. 131,000 miles on that. Anyway, value on this, though, is $12,311. Now, 13,000, unless you're looking desperately for an animal control vehicle, I find it hard to justify that price. And as such, I bowed out on that one early on. Another one that went good, this 2007 Chevy 2500 HD pickup. This thing was clean. Let me show you this thing. This was a nice looking truck. It's got the 4-door. It's got good tires on it. It's got this great cap on the back. It's a 4x4. Tons of lockable storage. Look at all that. Everyone and their brother was looking at this truck. You knew it was going to go for good money. Look at the interior. This thing is clean. And yeah, I mean, the outside needs to be washed, but the inside was nice. And such, it went for $14,700. You're looking 4x4, no console, paint damage with 95,000 miles. And Blue Book on this is $14,200 again. But you add the cap on it though, but then you add the 13%. That one's kind of borderline. And I still think it's not a great deal because you're buying it at auction. You can't take it for a test drive. There were very few wins at this auction, I have to say. Look at this. I got to tell you, Cummins guys, we're crazy people. I bought my truck, a 2014 3500 Cummins Mega Cab 4x4. And I bought it with 195,000 miles on it. And I paid $30,000 on it. All right, 2014, and that was almost 2 years ago. And I thought I got bent over on that price. I was not happy about paying that price, but I'd been looking all over. And honestly, I'd been looking for a 2,500. I thought 3,500 was a bit much, and I still think it's a bit much. But that said, it was the only thing I could find. Literally, the only thing I could find in a Mega Cab 4x4 that was in good shape, and it was owned by a very luxury-oriented ski resort in Montana, and it has full documentation on all the maintenance and stuff. So I felt pretty happy about that. I still had put probably close to about $5,000 into it over the past 2 years in fixing stuff up, probably closer to 6. But good solid stuff. That you're gonna get your money back on. This is a 2007 that went for $28,500. Let me show you this real quick. It's a good looking truck. Now it's listed as a mega cab, but the mega cab back then wasn't the full extended. It was just a full size 4-door. The good tires. It's got the utility bed on it. If you're looking for something with a utility bed, you're looking for a work truck. I get it at that point. The interior, clean. Look at that interior. All right, now I will say this about those back seats. They're not quite as much room, but not as bad as the quad cab. It looks like it there, but it's not. Again, not much to the interior in there. 103,000 miles on it. So a lot lower miles than mine, but $28,000 for this. And diesel 4x4 4-door. And the blue book on it is 26. And it went for 28. Cummins, guys, from one Cummins owner to another, we got to get a grip because, brother, anything that had said Cummins on it, people lost their minds. Now, let's talk about some stuff other than trucks and cars. Let's talk about some of the fun stuff. 2007 Polaris Ranger 6x6. I haven't seen the 6x. I don't believe they still make this. That's early on there. Anyway, it's funny because here at the RV park, somebody just down the way has this exact same one. $6,500, which, if you look at the NADA price on it, it should be around $4,000. So it's way, honestly, but the way these things sell these days, you could, I don't know. It's got 1,284 hours on it. The odometer's 6,000. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Anyway, some other stuff. The big winner, 2016 Freightliner. Come on, it's Freightliner. The Road Wizard Sweeper went for $109,000. We got, look at this. This one kind of got me. Lincoln Ranger 9. So this is a stick welder with an Onan generator built into it. All right, so on a utility trailer, nothing special about the utility trailer. It's got a toolbox with it. Went for $4,000. That seemed a little harsh to me. But I don't know if you guys are maybe up on this kind of generator here for a ready to go welding rig like this. Because I looked, you can find one of these. You can find them used for about in the same range. And the nice thing about a used one is you can go in, you can spend some time with it. This thing, you're not taking this for a test drive. They're not going to let you, start it up and do all sorts of stuff with it. It is what it is. So, I don't know. And Onan great generators. They're solid. We got a front loader here. John Deere 644H went for $54,000. Not up my John Deere pricing. How about this Toyota forklift? Now, I'd actually just been recently looking at forklifts for a buddy of mine. He has got a shop, and they've been looking to upgrade the forklifts. Toyota forklifts go for about twice this. And this thing, talking about this, as far as hours, it says it has 753 hours. If that's accurate, all this thing needs is a paint job, and you can double your price. Other than that, I don't know about. I didn't look too close to the tires. It's been driven kind of hard, but I know what forklift hasn't. But these Toyota forklifts, man, people love them. They work hard. Anyway, that might have been a big win coming in at $8,600. Another one, this Towmaster trailer went for $5,500. This is a good-looking trailer, but it's a utility trailer. It's got the utility hitch on it rather than your standard ball receiver hitch. And the bed on this is just not big enough to pull vehicles. You're good UTVs, small tractors, stuff like that, but it's just not. It's a 6x6 wide by 16 foot deck. It's solid. It really is. And these rolled out maybe if you're doing lawn care or something like that, but it's. I was looking for a vehicle trailer. We got a skid steer. You know, I'm a big fan of skid steers. I don't know what I'd use one for. 3,188 hours on it. Went for 17 grand. That sounds about right. For a cat. And last but not least, we got to talk about Prison Bus. Prison Bus went for $2,800. Which honestly is not bad. The thing about used school buses go for, this has got a Cummins with automatic transmission in it, 267,000 miles, probably pretty hard, but look at this. If you're looking to do an RV build, and you didn't see this in my previous video, I got to walk you through this. This is a clean looking bus, definitely very institutional looking, but you know, nice coat of paint will change the look and feel on this thing. You got the regular back door. That back bumper looks pristine. You got a hitch. You're not going to be towing a lot of stuff with that hitch probably, but it does have the hitch. You can do some utility stuff. It's got the side load door. It does not have the lifting mechanism in it anymore, but let me show you the inside, because this is where it gets exciting. They've already removed everything. You got a nice clean floor except for some tracks here. That's a toilet. And that's, I think, a sink. Somebody said it might be a water fountain. There's some people are contesting what this is. I'm pretty sure it's a sink. I think that's a pump with a reservoir built in. Either way, but that is definitely a toilet set up in there. So as I said, if you're looking to do a conversion into an RV, this is about the best starting point you can even think of. And it's got, because we're in Vegas, it's got dual ACs up top. Now, the BTUs on them and everything else, I don't really know. It's got the custom camo seat covers. Come on, what's not to love on this thing? Look at that. Look at that. Prison Bus. All right, there you go. Auto auctions. My take on auto auctions are, they're fun to look at. They're fun to go to. You have to understand that you need to keep your head. Don't get into a bidding war. Set your price ahead of time and be more than ready to walk away. Maybe give your bidding card to your spouse so you don't lose your mind. Because I've seen guys, we have an auction that happens in our town in Livingston every year. All the cars and trucks and stuff that get towed. I've seen people lose their mind on some stuff. I saw somebody buy an enclosed Harley trailer for more than new. They lose their minds on these things. Don't go crazy. There were a few wins in here. Honestly, I think there were a few wins, but there weren't a lot. And I don't know. Let me know what you think. Are auctions dead to you? Put it down in the comments. Anyway, if you liked what content you got here, make sure you chomp that like button, smash that subscribe, ring the bell on your way out. You all take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.